This is a good one. Okay, let me put it this way. I want to show you. I wrote a book that came recently out, and it's really about a reflection on Muslim, atheist, Jewish, Christian. Words Muslim, atheist, and Jewish are adjectives describing word Christian. Okay, some people don't understand. They can say, well, how can you be Muslim, atheist, Jewish, and Christian at the same time? I say I cannot. Some people may. Rumi, maybe. Francis of Assisi, you know, he might have called himself something like that. But there's not many people who kind of bring everything together. These are special individuals. But these are adjectives to the word Christian, which means for me that that others are there to make me a better Christian, and without them, I cannot see how I would survive as a Christian without help. So one of the people that helped me was this Muhammad. Okay, without him, I don't know if I would stay a Christian. Without questioning of people who are atheists and are asking different questions in a different way, and not allowing Christians or religious people to live in an echo chamber, they are keepers of the questions. Without that, I wouldn't be able to have a healthy faith. So others are there to assist me, and not to assist me, but I cannot live. I cannot conceive of Christianity anymore in an isolated manner. And I'll give you an example. I'll remember that you raised the hand. To give you an example for those of you who go to Christian church and you hear the sermons, how many of you actually listen? You know, if it's a good preacher, you know, you listen, and if they're interesting, they will talk. But just for the sake of an experiment, when they need to illustrate something and say, well, here's what Peter meant, or here's what Jesus did. Oh, well, let me give you an illustration. Usually illustrations are from popular culture, right? Well, here's what happened in a Matrix movie, you know, or Lord of the Rings. Or here's what happened in a Danish history, you know. Or here's what happened in our town, I read it in a paper. Or you know, a lot of things that are around us, right, that are part of our lives. You take those illustrations and you bring them to illustrate something. When was the last time that somebody in a Christian church said, I wonder, like Jesus said, how should I illustrate that? He always asks something like that, like, how can I illustrate this? He would say, what shall I say kingdom of God is like? He would say. And then, why would a sport event, you know, a football illustration, be better than an illustration that held human attention over hundreds of years and holds attention of billions and billions of people? Why do we need to describe our faith while pretending that other don't exist and that other doesn't have anything to add to what we do? Why don't we use illustrations of atheists of doing a good thing that Jesus talked about? Or bring somebody who is an atheist to church to tell us how to feed the hungry because they are doing so. We only bring our people to show us how to feed the hungry, right? So the question is, for me, I am not I'm not willing to be a Christian in a world where other stories need to be false in order for mine to be true, where virtue and goodness is with us and not with them, and where I'm not interdependent with the other. I don't want to be independent anymore. I don't want to have a church where I'm a pastor. Two of us started a church in California and grew to 1,200 people in 4 years. And we hired far more people, so there were 7 of us on the staff. I have opportunity to be in the church that wants to have its own programs in its own ways. But I don't want to be in a church that will not have the boundaries that are permeable and interdependent with others. I don't know how to be Christian like that anymore. Okay. For some people, that's the only way you can be a Christian. And so there's a change in paradigms on how you can be a Christian. And I hope you are becoming aware of these and exploring that. And what you are doing here are some of the things that can go and help you in that process. Yeah. Yes.
When reading the Bible, did you ever stumble upon something where you thought, whoa, this must be the truth? Or did you really become convinced at some point? Or did you just think, I want to live this way and I like these ideals, or the Christianity brings?
Yeah.
It's a tough one to answer.
Yeah, no, it's good, it's good, it's good. First of all, the younger you are, the more you're responsive to the truths, like what's true and like a black and white thing. Like what is true and what is not true. And when I became a Christian first, I felt Bible is historically true. Everything inside is true, but not words, but meanings are true and stories are true. And I got really excited. And because I was so certain about it, and I felt like now I can have a handle around what life is about, I became a social eyesore. You know, like I would go around and thump on my Bible and tell everybody what they need to believe because I knew it. And but 20 years later, I realized that the stories might not be true, but they're true stories. The stories about the truth. It might not have happened, but it's true. The stories talk about things that matter more, far more, than whether stories are really things that have happened. The truth goes deeper than Bible being a report, factual report. See, after Enlightenment, people turned to the Bible and said, people who are into science, they have their textbooks, and then they turned to the Bible and said, Bible should be a textbook and a logical thing. But it never was. Before Enlightenment, Bible is full of stories that tell truth about the human condition.
Like existentialism or?
Well, myths. You know what myths are, yeah. But not myths in a sense of myths as lies, but myths that transmit the truth.
Symbolic way.
Let me put it this way. I have a friend who is a pastor, and he went to this conference where there was a rabbi who studied, for 60 years, studied a Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, right? And he wrote 50 books on those. Imagine some of those rabbis that you think exist, like 200 years old, and he's not that old, but he has a beard and he studies these books, and has a big conference about the book of Genesis. And this Protestant pastor comes and says, tell me, is first 3 chapters of Genesis, are they literal 7 days, or these are long periods of time? Okay, like millions of years. He asked him that, because that's a conversation that some very conservative people, Christians, have here with like I was saying.
We know about it.
Okay, you know about it, okay. So he asked this question. So is this really true, or this is a long period of time? And this rabbi says, I never thought about that. What difference does it make? That's after a lifetime of study of these books, because the truths there are bigger than whether it really happened or not, and who can anyway prove it. It's not something that you can put in a lab and redo. Life proves it. So what I'm saying is, my relationship with my own text is now like a relationship with a spouse. So Bible for me is like my wife. Beautiful, but problematic at times. Okay? Sometimes I embrace her and kiss her, but sometimes I really don't want to talk with her. Sometimes I would rather be alone. Sometimes I'm angry at her. Sometimes she hurts me. Sometimes I hurt her. It's a living relationship. It's a relationship like a relationship with a person. I don't have to take my Bible text and treat that Bible text as though it is an army officer in my life. I don't have to treat that text as though it is a policeman of my life. It's my beloved. It's the text that is imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect to be loved, like my wife doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. It doesn't have to be the best in the world. My wife doesn't have to be the best in the world, but she is still my best. See? She is the only one, although I know that she's not the only one, but she is. See? I don't love her because all other women are ugly. Okay? I love her because who she is.